without wasting much time, I would just introduce our first guest, Kolade Carew. Kolade is going to take us through his background, how he started, what he currently does, and advice for people who want to transition into this space. Mic check, Kolade, are you there?
Good afternoon. I'm very much here, Sonia. Thank you for calling up for me. Good afternoon, all. Am I clear? Am I audible?
Yes, you're very audible.
Thank you very much. Do I have the floor?
Yes, you can.
Okay. Good afternoon, gentlemen and ladies. My name is Kolade Carew. I live in Lagos. I work in Lagos. Married, 2 kids. I'm here to talk about data science and the journey to data science. Now, I'm going to kickstart my own history, and I'll make it very simple and very straightforward. Before I start, I was privileged to have a few roles, a few of the people areas where people in this session are from. A few are from logistics, agriculture, healthcare, finance, entrepreneur, unemployed, technology, media, oil and gas, insurance. Nice to have you all. I like the spread of the areas. It's not computer. I'm even surprised. Okay, there's technology here. Nice. So it's good to have everybody from these different areas of discipline. You're welcome. Thank you very much. Now, let me get started with how my history. Everybody in Lagos, Nigeria, before you enter university, we all do JAM. I did JAM, and I came in to do computer science. Not that it was my choice, but I had a father who was persistent. If it's not engineering, it's computer. So I had to enter for computer science. Spent 4 years, was in Lagos here. After went and came back again to do my master's in IT in the same school, University of Lagos. And after I finished my BSc and my NYSC, I came back to my alma mater, where I spent 10 years, 11 years being a data person. All through my 11 years in that space, I was just a data person. They called me a system analyst, a senior system analyst, but the core of the job was analyzing data. I was analyzing core student data, staff data, student data in the regard of admission, registration, course registration, payment, results, everything pertaining to students. What was my core? And that means I was more like left, right, center was data, all around data. As at that time, I never knew I was doing data analysis, data science. I was just doing my job. But I had a flair for data. So the flair for data grew ever since I left school and I started with the first company. 11 years down the line, I left there because my craving was way more than that. I went into the telcos company, a private telecom company. We deal with infrastructure, telecoms infrastructure, but the company itself, it's a subsidiary to a group company called R28. Okay, now in this core job, I was made to analyze data pertaining to telecoms information. If you're into telecoms, you understand very well how wide data is. More so when you have different sites spread across the nation, you have to do return on site, you have to take asset information. In the course of the current job I am doing now, I had to work with HR, with the data, account, procurement, warehouse, fleets, maintenance, and cooperation. And alas, all I have to say is that I'm a data analyst. But in the course of me transforming from my 11 years experience in my first company and coming into this new company, the way it is, let me just say it. I came in there as a contract staff, 3 months. Down the line, they converted me first time. I got promoted the second time. And the fourth time, I became the head of my department. And I'm just 4 years and some months in my company now. Alas, I'm also the head of the warehouse for another sister company under the group company. Are you all familiar with Abico? That's a construction company. The group company I work for owns Abico. Now we have warehouses spread around the nation. and I'm to oversee it because I know how to use data. Now, let me quickly give you a few of my slides. I know that Sonia is timing me, and I don't want to abuse that time. So I'm going to be very, very, very fast and fast about it. So Sonia, let me quickly present this. Now, if you're talking about going to data science, first and foremost, what's data science? It's simple and straight. It's a field that gives you insight from structured and unstructured data. If they ask you what is biology, study of life, what is other thing that has to do with ology at the end, a study of a particular field. But when you talk about data science, it's basically the study of data. It has to do with data, either structured or unstructured, using different scientific methods and algorithms, basically. Now, if you are looking at going to a course in data science, you have to understand that there are a few stages you have to undergo. You're dealing with data, basically, just know that you're dealing with data. And if you're dealing with data, you have to know what are the levels it takes to get to that part you're going to. The first part of it, which we'll still talk about, you have to collect data. We have different sorts of data. We have the primary data, we have the secondary data. You can put a survey out tomorrow, you get out the survey, and you get information, and you can use the information after you collect it. You have to organize it. Okay, organizing means that you have to look through it for any errors, transform it, make it clean, prepare it for analysis. Then you go to analyze the data. That stage of analysis is quite enormous. Okay, it depends on what is the output you intend to get. That will determine the approach you use in analyzing the data. Obviously, the data you are talking about now is in the past, and you analyze data in the present to predict the future. So the past plus the present are all in the population, and we're going to use this data to predict the future. There's no reason why we collect data if it's not for future. So you have to predict it. If you have seen 3, 4, 6 months data, how do you turn that data to make a future prediction for you? Okay. Now, the other part of data analysis that not everybody is another level entirely is the AI, where you put human thinking into robots, into robotics. That's not for us, but I have just show you this level. On the left-hand side again, you have data collection, similar as collect. You have data preparation, similar as organize. You have exploratory data analysis, similar to analyze. Now you now have model building, model evaluation, and deployment. These two here form the part of the prediction. Different tools have different advantages and limitations. But for us here, we'll not go into details, we'll touch it because not everybody is a core science person. Those are in science might get confused. I am trying to bring it as simple as possible. They're just stages, don't really have any so much like that. Now, let's look at what are the things that you need to be a data scientist. One, you must have an analytical mindset. You just must have it. You have to look at data and how to analyze data, look at the past, how to analyze what you have recorded from the past, look at how you intend to approach it in defining your data, your information you want to get out of the data. By the time you're able to have the analytical mindset, you can then start to interpret it. You're able to interpret numbers. Some people get numbers in figures, but it is easier represented in percentages. Okay? Basically, if you can have an analytical mindset and you can easily interpret numbers, you're ready to become a data analyst. These are the two basic things you need to become a data analyst without any form of fear, right? Then other things that you must be ready to read more, because there's a lot of things you have to read, a lot, and a lot. You have to read them. Now, what are the tools that you need when you're talking about data analysis? Hello? If you want to approach the data analyst, a data scientist field, what are the things that you need, what are the tools that you need? data can come either as a high volume or a low volume, there which you can decide what kind of tools you approach it. For the low volume data, which is the regular data we all use in our offices, we have Excel. Some of us have SQL. Not everybody has, but you may have it in SQL. Python, probably R also. But let's go to the next one, the high volume. Now, in the high volume, you have tools like Hadoop, Scala, Python, and R again. So I take it back again. You'll see that Python and R are repeating in both sides because you can use Python for small volume data, low volume data, or high volume data. It doesn't matter. But if you're interested in studying data science, of which I know in a way, one form or the other, you are dealing with data in your different industries. You collect data every day, over a week, over a month, over 6 months. You are already doing data analysis at your end, but you have not fine-tuned it in the standard of having it called data analytics. So what we're trying to say here is, if you have the mindset, or you already have a fair idea of what data analysis is, the starting point for most of us is always Excel. It's always Excel. Excel has a very good structure where you can quickly do some data gathering, analysis, and you can also visualize data. You can interpret data. Excel has that. It's cheap as compared to others. It's available everywhere. People can easily adapt to the use of this Excel. Also, you might have to have a knowledge of SQL, be it MySQL or be it MS SQL. You have to have a knowledge of that. Then Python or R. I did Python, I didn't do R, right? Now, when you do Excel, you now have a fair knowledge of what we call data analysis. Then you can now say, okay, fine, which direction do I want to go? Sometimes I think the determinant is about your industry. Because you're not from computer background, doesn't mean you have to not know the direction you're going to. You don't have to come from the computer background, as far as I'm concerned. Now, if the line of work you're working warrants you just to analyze data yourself, get data and analyze it. If that's the kind of industry you're from, then what happens is that you have to look at what is being used in your company. Then you know what kind of tools you have to use in that respect. If your company is not using Python, I wouldn't advise you to go all the way to go into Python. But you can use Python to know more and leave the space you are for a better job. For the industry now, if you have an idea of how to use Microsoft Excel, you then move on to either Python or R. They are both programming languages. That means it's a language you have to understand to know how to use it to get data analyzed, right? Then you now have to go and know things like data visualization tools. Here it is. You have to be able to visualize data. It is part of the analysis. When you're analyzing data, the better way or the best way to always present the data is in the graphic and the visual, or in charts or in maps. If you give me figures and give me charts, I will go for a chart because my brain is intuited to knowing how to read graphics or charts better than reading data. So most times when you're doing data analysis or you're a data scientist, you must look at how to always present data in a visual form: charts, graphics, maps, etc. There are some tools in the industry that you can use. The Power BI, you have Tableau. These are the two top ones. You have Infogram, DataPine. I'm not going to can't write everything out. There are many more there I'm not mentioning here. In all the tools, there are way many more I'm not mentioning here. And it's because I'm just taking one or two. I cannot do all, right? But in your own field, be sure, ready to know which of them is easier for you. Power BI is Microsoft owned. Tableau is not Microsoft. So when you do data science, you must make a data tool. One, be it Python or R. You must pick a database, be it MSQL or or MySQL. You must pick a visualization tool, be it Power BI or Tableau. If you learn these few things, one of these three categories, then I don't see anything stopping you from moving forward to be a data analyst. Okay, now the top of my career was last year when I had my postgraduate program, University of Texas in Austin. It was an 8-month program that led to 10 months. And it was there I did a lot of modeling, analysis, supervised and supervised learning, model tuning. I did basic statistics. I did Python programming. So for you to do Python, it's a programming language you have to learn. When you now understand the language, you can then move into how to approach the use of it in analyzing using Python. So anywhere you want to do, or if you have the mindset, or you are in an industry now and you intend to move forward to another industry tomorrow, be it away from agri, healthcare, accounting, you're in that line. You can always know the tool that applies to your line. Let me give you an idea now. Every area of specialization deals with data. Even in courses now, we have data science for accountants, data science for insurance, data science for this, data science for that. And when you look at the curriculum that they use, they either do R or Python. In the industry now, these are the tools that are quite on the top notch when it comes to analyzing data. So I come again, if you're interested in doing data science as a newbie, start with your Excel. If you're familiar with Excel and you're fair with Excel and you intend to push forward tomorrow, pick up a data visualization tool, right? And make sure you pick that tool and you use that tool. Whatever tool you pick, you have to make sure that it is a tool that will help you tomorrow in your industry. You cannot afford to take a tool and assume that the tool will be for every industry. No. So for accounting, if you do Python, does your company use Python? But if you intend to move to the future, to the bigger space where you can have your hands open, then you can approach it with any of the tools, be it Python, be it R. But you cannot leave one. Say, for example, you cannot do Python alone. I don't know about SQL. I don't know about visualization. If I were to have enough time now and talk more, Python itself can visualize. You can explore data in Python. You can create graph in Python. So Python it has its own way of analyzing and also exploring. That means visualizing. For other tools, you might have to have the data somewhere, analyze here, then take the data from here and take it to another data visualization tool to visualize. Then most of us in the company we work for, we might have an already existing platform, maybe a cloud platform, whereby our data are resident. Data gathered from somewhere are always going into that platform. Wherever you go, wherever it goes to, you must be able to know how to manage that platform to extract your data. That is where my co-speaker comes in. He'll talk more about that. But you need to have ideas of the tools, the visualization, and you must be able to have a database. Basically, you must be able to have one of these three. Okay? So looking at where I am now, looking at the industry I am now, in less than 5 years, I have moved from a subsidiary. I came as a contract staff, moved. Now I'm in the field space of a group personnel. And very soon, in a short while, I might be standing alone or I go for something much bigger than where I am now. You won't blame me. We all have to, because the knowledge of what you have now is too big for you to just be confined in a little space. So if you all don't have the mindset of always analyzing and interpreting, then you don't have a business with data analysis or data science. What you might look at is just how to interpret data, or how you manage data you get. You must be able to analyze, interpret, and sometimes models. I got from the my last program, it is a data science in business analytics. We also have data science in machine learning. So data science, once you have different way of, there are different stages in data science that you can use. You have the AI, you have the machine learning, you have different areas. You have business statistics. So I chose the area of business statistics. I don't intend to model human brain to a machine, so I didn't go for AI. Even at the level of my data in business analytics, I still have another level which I didn't go to. That's data science using ML, where you can always use data and different tools to predict future. That's why many people that were in the industry of say insurance, money, banking, where you borrow, where you take loan or they give loan, they can look at the pattern of how people return back their money and predict this customer will always default or not. So most times when you are in that industry, when in that space, data analysis is quite important. You need to always be able to analyze data in the best of ways. So as it is now, if you know that you are in an industry or a field or area of study of discipline that you haven't heard at all about data analysis, start with Excel. Progress to do Python or R. When you're sure you're good with either Python or R, look for a database platform to use. Once you're sure about that, then you now proceed on to do data visualization. Then look at the space. Sometimes industries require that you have programming knowledge, most times, because they feel you have all in one. And if you have the knowledge, it's another advantage. You don't have, it's not a bad thing. But as we speak now, the few things I've mentioned now, newer ones are coming in. Newer tools, newer materials are coming in, which will allow us to make fast or make do quickly with the ones we're knowing now. Because when the new tools comes in, you need to also read those ones and know more. I'm not sure if anybody has heard about another tool from Google recently called Looker. It's new. I mean, I'm not sure it's over a year. Looker, and Looker is a tool that is a data visualization tool. You get to analyze and visualize. It's new. So if you have the knowledge of Power BI and Tableau, or maybe Excel and Python, Google has come in. What if you find yourself in an industry whereby what they all use are Google applications? You have to also know Looker. So it's always a dynamic industry. You cannot say you're in one place and it ends there. You need to always project for the future. So you always need to read more. So for my people that are in the industries of healthcare, agriculture, different apples of the industries, accounting, technology, you don't have to be a data scientist, a BSc computer science scientist before you go to data analysis. Every core of our day-to-day involves data. And that's why the world has gone to data. If you are in the industry today and all you do is gather data and you don't see the inside the data, then start advising your line manager and your company on the approach to go and have a platform to analyze data. You don't have to spend the biggest of money. But most times, it gets to where we are talking about now, requires you all to read. There are a lot of resources online. There are a lot of resources online. You might get a lot of resources and also get confused. So don't get too confused. But once you get yourself to be equipped with these tools, if you go online and search for a job, you will see the requirements there. These skill sets will be required. It will be required. Beautiful enough, Utiva is here to assist you, take you through the journey of each of the stages. So all the bias, all the confusion will be alleviated. You will have seasoned people to give answers to your questions. You have people to always give advices to your worry, basically. So I would advise that anybody on this journey to take it up, be focused, be ready. It's a journey that requires time, and your attention. You cannot just start now and drop it. Start it now. If you think you need to plan yourself for this year, like Sonia said, start planning now. And that's which Utiva can always give you. You can get that knowledge, you can get that assistance, that growth in the part of Utiva, sorry, pardon me, Utiva. So let's get started. Let's get the ball rolling. I would wait till the time you have different, what do you call it? Different question and answer. I'll be up to answer the questions then. Sonia.
Thank you so much, Kolade. I mean, this few minutes have been really, really insightful. I mean, the basic tools that you talked about are